Hi, it's Norman Kochnick here for Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochnick. Well, Australia did a pretty good job today in terms of the batting, but India is still in with a reasonably good chance, despite the fact that day 4 was actually hampered by rain towards the end of the day's play, not leaving much play post-tea at all, with the likes of Sharma not out 4 and Gill not out, having not scored. None for 4 after a mere 1.5 overs. India are actually in a situation where they'll have to bat all day tomorrow to draw the match and potentially win as well. And either way, a draw or a win is obviously going to be a win to India as they hold the Border Gavaskar Trophy currently. So day 4, Australia actually resumed on none for 21, and the likes of Warner and Harris actually did a particularly good job at starting the day. Warner didn't seem to be hampered by his so-called groin injury, although I'm sure there was an element of that about his running. He certainly couldn't take quick signals, seemed to be able to still hit his boundaries and play very good calculated shots. In fact, Warner and Harris very briskly brought the score to 89. Well, unfortunately, Harris was caught off a very good short ball from Shardul, who's been fantastic all match. He was caught by Punt, the keeper, for 38. And Warner was also batting particularly well. He was joined by Labuschagne, and they continued to bat for a fair while. But Warner actually then, not that long after, actually was LBW to a very good bowl by Washington Sundar that kept straight. That Warner played for the spin, was trapped LBW, actually attempted to go against the decision, which was actually interesting because the DRS was actually, his request for the DRS was actually technically late. He was given the opportunity, he was clearly out, so that was a non-existent attempt to actually find out whether he was not out. So effectively, Warner was out for 48, and he looked particularly good today despite his groin injury. So at that point, Australia were 2 for 91 after some 26 overs. Labuschagne and Smith came together, and they were again looking pretty strong, and things were looking reasonable. They were nutting out a pretty good partnership, but Labuschagne was then caught by a fantastic catch by Sharma off Siraj for 25, with Smith not out 7, and they were 3 for 123 at that stage, up to 30.3 overs. Now, what was interesting about that, of course, the run rate was quite brisk for the day, and certainly took advantage of that moment. Unfortunately, Wade didn't last very long. In fact, he was caught on the leg side off by Pant, off the bowling of Siraj. And Siraj in particular looked very good today and ended up taking 5 wickets for the day in a magnificent display. The first 5-wicket haul by an Indian on the tour on this particular test as well. But Siraj, what an amazing player when it considered he wasn't even in the side. Then came in to make his debut, and then by the third match he's become the leading bowler of the team and has proven it very successfully with 5 wickets today and a very good haul. That when Wade went for a duck, in fact, there was a moment where Agarwal was hit, which was a bit of a concern, but he did recover there at silly it on. And with, of course, Navdeep Saini also was actually able to bowl with some pace, but certainly not at his full pace, about 10 kilometres below his full pace, but admirably, Rahane rallied his forces yet again, and Saini has listened, and Saini went about his bowling despite clearly carrying an injury. It's quite amazing. At that point, the fact is Smith was on 28 and Green was on 4, and they went to lunch at 4 for 149, with a lead then of 182 off some 41 overs. Now, that lead was already 182 at the point of lunch, but Australia didn't really seem to get any further on top. They were niggling away for most of the day. In fact, Smith was eventually caught by Rahane off Siraj. Siraj yet again took a fantastic catch off Siraj. Siraj bowling really well, with Green at that time on 20. The score was 5 for 196. And of course, the lead then was 229. Still, and a lot of people were arguing that it was getting close enough even at that stage, depending on the rain, and perhaps Australia should have declared a lot earlier than they actually ended up doing. Green eventually inked out 37 before he was caught by Sharma. Sharma's taken some 5 catches. Amazing catching, such assured nature about his catching, Sharma, and Rohit Sharma's batting. The similarities are quite amazing. In fact, Sharma's put a big effort with his fielding in this match, as has Siraj with the bowling. At that point, Green was actually out for 37 caught. Sharma bowled Shardul, which is the very good fall for Siraj in the bowling. Shardul, quite frankly, is pretty close to the man of the match. We'll see how he goes throughout the last day, but I think he's already man of the match material, having taken 3 wickets in the first innings, 67 runs, and a further set of wickets in the second innings. At that stage, Payne was not at 14 and the score was 6 for 227. There was a lead in a 260 with Siraj at that point with 3 for 41. Payne then subsequently went again to an edge off the bowling caught by punt, caught off Shardul, who looked very strong, with Cummins not out 2, and the score then was 7 for 242. A lead then of 275. Cummins and Stark came together, and there was an early tea at that point due to rain. It was about an hour delayed with tea included, and Australia were 7 for 243. With that point, they were leading by 276 after some 66 overs. So after that hour lapse, Cummins with Stark went back out to bat, and Stark was out very quickly, caught at mid-off a fairly loose shot by Saini, in fact, off the bowling of Siraj, which was his 4th wicket. At that point, they were 8 for 247. Cummins and Lyons certainly went about their... In fact, Lyons played a very impressive 6. Cummins batted with a great deal of a great deal of confidence, not as much execution, but inked out a partnership. And then Lyons, on 13, popped the ball to Agarwal close in, off the bowling of Shardul, who again bowled well with Siraj, and the score was 9 for 274, a lead of 307 at that point. With Cummins falling shortly after, in fact, Hazelwood fell shortly after on 9. He was caught Shardul this time, bowled by Siraj. So they were teaming up nicely. They were taking wickets of bowling between the two of them, and that meant Cummins was not out for 28. He batted pretty well for that. Australia finished at 10 as an all-out for 294 with a lead of 327, which effectively meant that after 75, close to 76 overs, Australia had that lead of 327. And at that particular point, we had figures then of Siraj taking his 5th wicket, 5 for 73, with Takula taking 4 for 61. 2 very impressive bowling performances indeed. India should be very proud of themselves, having gotten Australia all out for 294. And considering the way that India has played this match, yet again, they're in a position where they have a chance, definitely, of drawing it, and even the slightest chance of winning it tomorrow. Both Sharma and Gill went, and Sharma played a fantastic drive, but that was all he could face, only being out there for less than 2 overs. Rain stopped today's play. There's an early start tomorrow, and then there's potentially a number of hours of play, but rain will raise its ugly head around that 3-4 o'clock mark as well. So India will have to get it onto it very early, but you never know, with the likes of Sharma out there and Gill, and ultimately Punt and their attacking nature. You may even see Punt go up the order above Pujara and Rahane. You never know, to really take hold and attempt to take a stranglehold of this match and have a chance of winning. India, in my opinion, have got nothing to lose. Australia's got everything to lose. So it's a fantastic day 5 about to come up. Please stay tuned, and I will bring you updates throughout the day. Not forgetting, of course, to view, like, and share my actual YouTube channel. And please subscribe and take notifications when they come. I'll provide you with up-to-date information as soon as it comes, unbiased as usual. This is Norman Kochnek.